Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. Well, here we are now on day 78 of the second Donald Trump presidency, and we are on the precipice of a trade war that has no precedent in modern history. Trump's saying that starting tonight at midnight, the U.S. will tax imports from China at a rate of 104%, an announcement that sent stock markets back into free fall as everyone contemplates the world's two biggest trading partners bringing global commerce to a halt. Now, basically, every economist across the spectrum, with maybe a few exceptions, thinks this is a disaster. The conservative opinion writers of the Wall Street Journal, who helped elect Donald Trump twice, are absolutely freaking the F out that Donald Trump is killing free trade in the American economy. Even Trump's unelected co-president, Elon Musk, is reportedly pleading with Trump in private to reverse course on the tariffs. While publicly he's fighting online with Peter Navarro, Trump's top trade advisor and the architect of Trump's tariff plans. Musk called him a moron. He called him dumber than a sack of bricks and worse. Amid all this, there has been this desperate, almost kind of pathological search for some sort of reason at the core of Trump's policy here. And so you're seeing the MAGA faithful spin this in the media. They've created, and not just them, I think some in the mainstream media as well, they've created this kind of alternate steelman version of what Trump is doing, where what he's trying to do is recreate the middle-class economy of the post-World War II boom years that many people have genuine nostalgia for, because it was the best time for certain folks, I mean, particularly white folks without college degrees, to enter the middle class. You had a strong, growing industrial manufacturing base, meant those folks could get union jobs, paid a good wage, have benefits in healthcare, send their kids to college. You had huge home production, right? And the 30-year mortgage, you could buy a home cheaply. And again, there's a reason that people across the political spectrum, I mean, liberals, conservatives, everyone in between, tend to hearken back to the days of high union density, low inequality, a growing middle class. It really was good for a lot of people. So, again, the charitable argument, and you're seeing this everywhere. Once we hear this, you'll see it, for what Trump wants here, the reason that he's started a global trade war that may very well impoverish the whole world and the U.S., that what he wants to do is go back to the heyday of the 1960s, the Wonder Years opening credits, and who doesn't want that? But here's the thing, and I cannot stress this strongly enough. That is absolutely not what he is doing. It's complete wish casting, because he keeps telling us what his actual goals are here.
The country was at the richest point in its history in the 1890s. It was all tariffs. If you looked at William McKinley as an example, he was a big tariff president.
In the words of a very great but highly underrated president, William McKinley, I am a tariff man standing on a tariff platform.
If you look at some of McKinley's words, he was very beautiful.
From 1789 to 1913, we were a tariff-backed nation, and the United States was proportionately the wealthiest it has ever been. Then in 1913, for reasons unknown to mankind, they established the income tax so that citizens, rather than foreign countries, would start paying the money necessary to run our government.
The foreign countries don't pay the tariffs! But that aside, as you can see from that nice montage we put together, it's not about the 1950s, it's not about the 1960s, it's not boomer nostalgia, it's not the Wonder Years. It is quite explicitly about taking us back to the 1890s, to pre-1913, to William McKinley. He said it on the campaign trail over and over and over again. He said it on the day he announced the tariffs to the world. He is also very clear and consistent about why. The President of the United States, and again, he said this many times, just hopes this $6 trillion tax hike he is unilaterally slapping on you via all imports to the U.S., most of which will be paid by working middle class and poor folks, will raise revenue he can then use to hand over to the billionaires by either massively cutting income taxes or getting rid of them altogether. It is a plan economists call unrealistic, unattainable, bad math. It would be wildly regressive. But even if the math could work, think about it. Again, the period he thinks is the golden era, the heyday he's returning to, is the Gilded Age. And tariffs are the way to get there. And part of the reason it is such a just idiotic, destructive, insane idea, and no one can really actually upset that's what he wants, even though that's what he's telling us. It's like the opposite of Morning in America, right? A shining city on a hill in America of the future. You want to know what that era was about? Rampant tuberculosis in tenement slums, non-existent public services, poor sewage, heavy industrial pollution, robber barons lording their insane wealth over everyone. No one but, like, billionaires could possibly want that. I mean, they did build a bunch of nice houses in Newport, Rhode Island, but... And what about those manufacturing jobs, right? Isn't it all worth it if it brings heavy industries back to the United States? Maybe to factory owners, possibly, for workers. Again, we're not talking about high-paying unionized assembly line jobs of the 1950s, 60s here. So don't think GM. Think Triangle Shirtwaist Factory of the early 1900s. Or, you know, the 21st century version, I guess, as described by Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick.
Trillions of dollars of factories are going to be built in America. That's huge GDP. The factories being built in America are huge.
That takes
GDP.
years. And you've said that robots are going to fill
us.
those jobs. So those aren't union
No, it's really automated
jobs.
It's automated factories, but the key is who's going to build the factories, who's going to operate the factories, who's going to make them work. Great American workers. The army of millions and millions of human beings screwing in little screws to make iPhones. That kind of thing is going to come to America. It's going to be automated, and great Americans, the trade craft of America, is going to fix them, is going to work on them.
Bro, what are you talking about? That's the vision? That's a vision. It's honestly too self-contradictory to call it a vision. The screwing of the little screws will be in America, millions of people doing it, but it will be automated, and then the great American workers will be proudly fixing the robots that do the screwing? Who's getting screwed? If you err on the side of taking it all seriously, which again, it takes some effort, or believing that Trump wants to see this through and cause a global trade war and send us back to the 1890s, which I think is where we're at. The only thing that can stop it right now is probably Congress. And what's surprising is it looks like it might be starting to move a little bit in that direction. Today, senators from both parties got to grill Trump's trade representative, and Republicans did not hold back.
Who pays these high tariffs? In the short, medium term, it will be the consumer. It'll be the consumer. And so I'm worried about the inflationary effect. I'm worried if there is a trade war, that we're going to have markets shutting down for American farmers.
I don't often agree with the members on the other side of the aisle, but in many cases here today, particularly when they're expressing concern about small businesses in their states, I'm hoping you're very, and I hope you and the president are very sensitive about companies potentially going bankrupt by these actions.
Whose throat do I get to choke if this proves to be wrong?
That last senator there, that's Tom Tillis in North Carolina. He's up for re-election in a swing state. He's also one of 7 Republican senators who are now backing a bipartisan bill that would require Congress to approve President Trump's tariffs on trading partners. Under that bill, sponsored by Republican Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa and Democratic Senator Maria Cantwell of Washington, any tariffs imposed by the president would expire after 60 days unless Congress voted to approve them.